In this lecture, I'm going to show you how to configure trunking. There's two types of trunking that Cisco devices support. It's either a static trunk or a dynamic trunk with DTP. This lab is going to be a static trunk between two switches. So there are two hosts connected to switch 1 and two servers connected to switch 2. This is a layer 2 topology, so there's no routing. So only host 1 can connect to server 1, and host 2 can only connect to server 2. There's no routing for inter-VLAN routing. So what I'm going to do is assign VLANs to switch ports for both switches, and I'm going to configure a trunk interface on each switch so that the VLANs, multiple VLANs, can be forwarded between the switches. So the first thing I'm going to do is start with switch 1 and go to the CLI. I'm going to type enable and then the enable password and then configure terminal. So to start with, I'm going to go over to, and 01 is assigned to host 2 and 11 is assigned to host 1. So I'll start with host 1, and that's connected to fast Ethernet 11 port, switch port. So I'm going to assign fast Ethernet 11 to VLAN 10. So the first thing I do, I can do either interface or INT. And fast Ethernet 01/1. At this point I want to make it an access port, not a trunk port. And then switch port, access, VLAN 10. So at this point it's created the VLAN automatically, so I don't have to do that. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use the up arrow, because you can do that with Cisco CLI instead of retyping everything. And now I'm going to go to 01. I'm going to just change it there, because this is going to be the 01 interface that connects to host 2, and I want that to be on VLAN 11. So what I'll do then is, now I'm in interface mode, go switch port mode access, and switch port access VLAN 11. So it's automatically created VLAN 11 for that switch. So both interfaces are configured with VLANs. The next thing I want to do is I want to go over to the trunk interface, and that's 2/1, and that connects to switch 2. So I'm going to go interface FA 2/1, and I'm going to make this a trunk interface, switch port mode trunk. Next thing I want to do is I want to turn off DTP. And that's with negotiate. Switch port no negotiate. This is something Cisco recommends as a standard practice. It's for security reasons, so that DTP frames are not sent between the switches to auto negotiate a trunk. So that's all there is to that. The next thing I want to do is I wanted to tell the switch 1 what VLANs are permitted across that trunk. If I don't do this, it'll allow all of them. So it's more of a security issue as well, and management as well. It's easier to troubleshoot a couple of VLANs instead of allowing them all across. Switch port trunk allowed VLAN 10. I can do com or hyphen, doesn't matter, both are fine. So that's all configured. So what I'll do is I'll go end, and I'm going to do a show run. As I go through here, there's 10 and 11. So there's a 01 interface, and there's a 11 interface. They have the correct VLANs, and there's the trunk. So I'm going to copy run to start, because I want to update the startup configuration. And done. And if I go over to switch 2, I'm going to do the same thing. Select the CLI, type enable, and CiscoNet, then configure terminal. So the first thing I'll do is I'm going to do VLAN 10. That's connected to fast Ethernet 11. So I'm going to do int fa1/1, and the next thing I'm going to do is make it an access port. I'm going to put that in VLAN 10. So server 1 will be in VLAN 10 because the interface is, switch interface is. So it created VLAN 10 automatically. Now I'm going to up arrow, I'm going to change the next one. So 01 is connected to server 2. So 01 has to be in VLAN 11. So switch port 11 or 01 is going to be VLAN 11. So it's an access port. I'm going to put it in VLAN 11. Created VLAN 11, so that's fine. The next thing I want to do is this has to be, this fast Ethernet 2.1 has to be a trunk as well because it's going to connect to switch 1. So what I'll do now is just go to 2.1 and I'll do switch port mode trunk. And then I'm going to turn off DTP. And I'm going to select the VLANs I want to permit across. And that's all there is to it. So that's done. So next thing, it's all configured. Just going to go back here. I'm going to save the configuration. Copy run to start. So we'll go back to switch 1 now. Now I want to test the configuration, test the lab, make sure it works. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to first verify that the trunk is operational. So I'll type show interfaces trunk. So at this point, I'm on switch 1 and it tells me mode is on. That means it's a static trunk. It's just on. 802.1q is the encapsulation. That's the Cisco default. It is trunking. It's using the native default VLAN of 1. That's default. And the VLANs allowed are 10 and 11. And it's 2.1 is the interface. So that trunk is fine. It's working fine. So the next thing I want to do is verify end-to-end connectivity. So I'm going to send a ping from host 1 to server 1. So I have to ping 192.168.1.2. So I'm going to select host 1. I'm going to go to desktop, command prompt. I'm going to ping that. And it's 1.2. And it works fine. So there's the replies, all 4 of them. So if I tried to ping server 2, actually that's not server 2, that's the host. Ping 2.2. It's not going to work. See, I'm trying to ping from host 1 over to server 2 and it's in a different VLAN, so it's not going to work. So you notice just the request timed out. So no packets returned there. So I'm going to go to host 2. I'm going to ping server 2 because they're in the same VLAN. Command prompt, so I'm going to ping 192.168.2.2. And it works. That's all 4 replies. So trunking is working fine. And that concludes the trunking lab.